That's
Man,
I love how you
it
share
took
good
so
and
much
bad feedback.
stress with me. It
That's your
like
job.
removed it all. It was so good.
I love that.
I will tell you honest every time, I
I
promise.
I know you will, and I do appreciate it. All right, let's jump into this. Let's make sure I got my right slides here. Ready to rock and roll. Welcome everyone. Hope everybody's having a great day. I can add some value to your day today. Before we get rocking and rolling here, curious to know, maybe give me a one in the chat. How many of you guys have actively been investing in your content, um, in any of the algorithms, Facebook, Google? How many of you guys have been actively investing in content?
Can you elaborate outside
Sure,
of
certainly. So there's we all know there's a short form content.
Mhm.
These can be short videos, posts that we're putting on our company, Facebook page, Instagram page, YouTube, you name it, but it's generating, unique content for your brand. So give me an idea what I'm working with here, just so I can tailor this a little bit. Okay, good. All right. Okay. So hopefully the goal today is to give you guys some ideas on to why we need to be more invested in this and what the opportunity is, but also how to do it with a lot less stress, a lot less worry, and actually produce something that's worth producing, right? So let's jump into this. Let me hit record. We're ready to rock. So what I'm referring to here, guys, is posts. All right. And we can look at it as in a lot of different ways. We're gonna take a look at it in the most realistic and easy way to understand. But most contractors think posting more equals more calls or opportunities. All right. So I hear that quite a bit, that posting more. If I post more, I would get the results that I'm looking for. But most contractors believe in like, the postings actually generating the jobs, and that it's going to make their phone ring. And that's unfortunately simply not true. It's a part of it for sure, and it can definitely result in that outcome. All right, but we need to really think about it a different way. 72% of homeowners say that they ignore contractors' posts that look like ads. Okay. Um, the reality is homeowners scroll right past your generic, posts basically every day, right? So, and if you go into your algorithm right now, they actually don't get shown. All right. So if we're posting sort of generic content, all right, or content with no lifeless content, you will get exactly that back, lifeless results. All right. So it's not about the quantity so much as it's about, what you're saying. All right. And how interesting it is, to the person that's potentially going to consume it. So here's the real problem, right? Why homeowners aren't like reaching out. Maybe you've done a lot of posting and you just don't understand why it's not, giving you those results that you're looking for. I'd like you all to kind of take a quick assessment and ask yourself, are you posting generic posts, right? Like, are we seeing a lot of um, cookie cutter type images that aren't yours, right? So generic posts blend in, no clear reason for a homeowner to call you, right? They're really missed opportunities, not addressing what the homeowners actually care about. All right. And the consequences is just, lost leads, wasted time, and no brand recognition, right? So nothing worse than posting a bunch and then getting zero results from it, right? 80% of homeowners research contractors online before calling. Okay. One clear point I want to point out here for you guys in beginning to get some quick wins in today. How many of you guys know that you can post on Google My Business just the same way you can post on Instagram or Facebook? How many of you guys were aware of that? Give me a one in the chat if you were. Okay. And hopefully you're actively doing that as well. All right. I'm not. Okay. So again, we want to think about where opportunities actually come from. And today I'm going to share with you just a little bit about how AI is actually picking up them. So a lot of searches now, even if you go to Google, the traditional way, you'll see that they have an AI there. Okay. And we've tested and found out that where that AI is actually pulling a lot of data from is first and foremost YouTube. Okay, so YouTube Shorts. Okay, they're also pulling it from Google My Business Maps location. Okay, so when you have your Google My Business profile, if you're posting content there, it's like a cheat code to get into the AI algorithm on Google. All right. So regular posts there are directly relating to, where you come up in those search categories. So again, if you're using a good quality CRM, much like the one that we use here at Contractor AI, you'll be able to post across all those platforms. All right. And really you treat it almost as if it were Instagram or Facebook. All right. And again, it's going to drive a lot of traffic because all the search algorithms, all right, use Google Maps for locations and a lot of trust indicators as well. So your Google reviews and stuff there are really important. Okay. And as well, this plays into your content game. All right. So if we're making posts, we should be, considering these things. So let's go through a couple of steps to getting your content game on point. All right. Number one is you got to know your homeowner's pain points. Okay. So think about when you're posting or creating content or, using an AI even. All right. What exactly is it that people care about or will watch and look at? Right. Homeowners care about trust, reliability, and solving their specific problem. Okay. So how does your offer solve their specific problem? All right. That's what they want to see. All right. Those are the trust factors that they'll be looking for. So, a homeowner worries about leaks, drafts, stains. Okay. Those are the problems that they're concerned about. All right. And we've got to use their language. All right. Not contractor jargon. For God's sakes, please, don't be getting into technical things and using technical terms. All right. Because no one cares. And once they see that, it kind of kills the post. All right. Anyone had the pleasure of maybe, seeing one of your, seeing a makeup ad? Right. I'm not particularly interested in makeup. All right. But, when I see them in my algorithm, when I'm doom scrolling, I generally skip right past those. All right. I want you to think about it in the same sort of context. All right. Or unless you're female, maybe you do like those. It would be a monster truck ad, right? How does that apply to you? Right. So when you're scrolling, all right, and whatever you're seeing has no bearing to you, you're scrolling right past it. All right. And inadvertently, you're training the algorithm to know what you like and what you don't like. Okay. So the content on your page, all right, gives you the opportunity to be in one of those placeholders. Okay. So again, if we solve the problem of our homeowners, be it, we stop leaks, we stop drafts or stains, we want to be known as the expert and the place to go for anybody that's, got that particular problem. Okay. If it's not inherently obvious that you solve that problem, you're gonna have a very hard time getting likes and views onto your profile. Okay. So 68% of homeowners say trust is the number one reason they choose a contractor. Okay. So again, when we're thinking of our content, we've got to be doing those things, all right, in all pieces. We got to have a very clear objective of why we're producing that content and what's actually going to resonate with a homeowner. Okay. So we want to use a simple, repeatable formula. Okay. And here's the formula that is the most easiest to understand. All right. You can use AI to do this as well, but it should always be problem, solution, and a call to action. Okay. So what problem do they have? What solution do you have to solve that? All right. And a call to action to get it solved. Pretty simple, right? Don't need to overthink this. All right. So problem, solution, call to action. That is the formula that tends to work, especially if you're just starting out with content. All right. We don't need to make it more difficult than that. So a post with a clear CTA gets 45% more responses. Okay. So a call to action. What exactly is somebody supposed to do when they see that content? Right? How can they get help? Or, what's the next step? And remember, it doesn't always have to be, a CTA does not always have to be, a, a call to action like call my business. All right. In fact, sometimes it's better not to have that kind of call to action. All right. But you could offer value, click here to download my PDF on this problem. All right. People tend to go for the higher value call to actions. All right. So be creative in your call to action. Maybe you want to run a two-step call to action that, gives a piece of value away first. We call these lead magnets. Okay. So if you wanted a really good call to action, you would have a high quality piece of content that you basically bribe somebody for. If they have a particular problem, I'll take, metal roofing as an example. If they want my buyer's guide on metal roofing, all right, they just comment buyer's guide. Okay. And I'll send it over to you. Right. That's a good call to action. It works very well because people don't feel, all right, like they're being sold to. All right. It's not call my business and I'll sell you a metal roof. Right. It's here's some value first. Let's get to know you. All right. Let me show you my expertise or demonstrate my value. All right. And then maybe we'll have a conversation, but we can also capture their contact information. Right. We can open up a conversation with them. We now can have a messenger chat if if they're looking for what we offer. Perfect. All right. But it's not an intrusive way of doing a CTA. So I want to bring that up. Right. So I'll give you an example. Tired of leaks. Here's how to fix them fast. Call for a free roof inspection. Okay. Very simple. Again, we want to think of using the formula. Okay. Next thing, guys, show real results, not just pretty pictures. Okay. And I want to be super clear on this. We actually have a pretty good influencer in our group that's helping the majority of our members with their content. And in working with this particular gentleman, we've learned, all right, that crappier is better. I know, it sounds backwards, right? So your polished content, the stuff that you think that people want to see, all right, is most likely not even close. All right. People want to genuinely connect with a brand, and that doesn't mean having, photo perfect pictures, a unrealistic view of your customer. They want to see things that are interesting. They want to see content that they can believe in, right? We are unfortunately in the post-trust era, right? Especially on the internet. Nobody trusts anybody. Okay. So when a brand is putting out content, all right, that's look at me, all right, showing flashy trucks and stuff like that, people don't care. All right. They want to see the genuine side of your business. Okay. That means for you guys that are listening carefully to me, all right, we don't need to hire a camera crew or an expensive, marketing company to come out and create these unbelievable pieces of art for our page, because most likely the algorithm will not or should not show that, right? It's not authentic to your business. It's not authentic to your brand. It's something you made or created, and it's very obvious. And I want you to think about how you scroll content. Is it not always in the back of your head? Like everything that I look at, I'm just like, is this bullshit or not? Right? Can I believe this or not? Right? Maybe I've scrolled it too much, but again, we want to think about showing up, authentically. And that means in a lot of times, all right, that just pulling out your cell phone and capturing something that may be, very average for you day to day. All right. But it's not average to 99% of people out there. That's a great type of content to share, right? Maybe it's a tool or how you do a particular thing. Okay. This stuff gets a lot of views and it gets a lot of reach. All right. Because people are genuinely interested in that. All right. And it's not so much salesy, but it can be exactly how you solve a problem. All right. So homeowners want proof you solve problems, not just that you do nice work. All right. We want to use maybe some testimonials before and after, with a story or a quick video. Okay. 92% of consumers trust user-generated content over ads. Okay, so this is your organic content. And what I want to say to everybody here that's running any sort of ads, okay, and I can prove this over and over again, when you put time and effort into your organic content, all right, your ads perform unbelievably better. Okay, and the reason for that is very simple. All right, the algorithm rewards you, all right, for producing content, for keeping people on the platform. All right. So when you're running ads and you're already creating an organic audience or people that are interested in your content, okay, what that allows it to do is learn faster and also target easier. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, and this is a big shift for me that I've made over the last year, if you do not have at least a basic organic posting structure, okay, you will pay 4 to 5 times more for your leads on the algorithm than somebody who is. And if your content actually is half decent, good, right? You can get 1,000 views, 2,000 views. All right. Your ads could perform up to 10 times better. All right. Now, is that an unfair advantage over somebody who has no presence? I think so. And we see it over and over again. This is a difference, guys. Like, I want you to put this in perspective. This is a difference between getting a $10 lead that is warm and open to buying to you versus a $100 lead that may never pick up the phone. Okay, so let that sit in for a second. If you're buying leads and you're not getting good quality leads, or you're paying, you know, anything over 50 or $100, you have to really start to think about why that is. Okay, and I could be the best advertiser, run the best strategy. It doesn't matter. Okay, and it's the reality of what is rewarded and what's not. Okay. The next part, and I see this quite often, is just make it easy to contact you. Okay. Make it easy to contact you. This can be, always include a simple way to reach you, a call now, a DM for a quote, or, tap the book, right? We see this all the time, but make sure that it's easy to contact you. All right. Traditionally, what we're seeing, again, the phone numbers are less and less successful. People are less likely to use a phone number. But if it's there and maybe your demographic's a little bit older, it's still an opportunity. I'm going to say that, DMs are, probably the best bet. Or, straight to a form, an easy to fill out form is another, great way to have that embedded in your content. Okay. If you don't have a CRM, that's connecting inside of your socials, I would highly suggest that you do. Okay. Again, like a basic CRM nowadays would allow you to have those access points, or, a form where you're able to track that. All right. We want to remove as many barriers. Don't make them hunt for you and your info. Okay. So again, optimizing your actual profile is very wise. All right. You can have links in that profile, right? And just giving people simple directions on how they can take the next step forward. Okay. So posts with a phone number or a direct link get 2 times more calls. Okay. That was as of 2023. I think that, again, booking, to a DM or booking to a form is definitely outpacing that. But it's still, still an opportunity. So if that's all you have, then that's what you should be doing. All right. Now here's the crutch, guys. Consistency will always beat perfection. I think many of you guys stop, and I hear it over and over and over again. And I am personally responsible of putting this message in my own head, which I've had to basically tear down. All right. Is that perfection? I need to have perfection. Okay. My phone's not set up, or I don't have the right camera, or I don't have a mic, or like, it goes on and on, right? Or I'm not good behind a camera. Okay. All of these things, all right, are independently stopping you from getting the highest ROI that I can see possible for you and your brand. Okay. So again, getting stuck in the algorithm and not getting enough leads. All right. A lot of times we can look back and see, giant holes. And I've personally had this experience. Okay. Until I got over these things and stopped caring what the content, having to be pretty and having to be, top of the line, did I start to see results. Okay. So, and again, depending on what the results are that you're looking for, all right, short form content becomes an absolute must in your marketing strategy. I'm going to say that it's like the oil, all right, in the car, right? We can have the engine being leads and a lead generating, pay per lead, all right, but it's very difficult to run without, at least some sort of organic touch points where they get to see you, where you become genuine, right? Typically, again, like I said, most people that are on the internet these days, all right, they want to buy from a person, all right? They don't want to buy from a company. They want to buy from a personal brand. Okay. So again, this is a kind of content that you can generate where you're just pulling out your phone and being yourself. All right. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned in terms of making content, all right, was don't worry about what you're shooting. Right. The stuff you do on a day-to-day basis, all right, the job sites you visit, the activities you are carrying out, and you being natural in your environment will get far more views than anything you're going to script, anything you're going to plan, any kind of, you know, gimmick that you're going to follow, or, TikTok video. Like, again, a lot of stuff that you guys are doing that you don't think is content is actually the content people want to see. Okay. And again, you don't need to go far. If you go to look at some of the profiles, I'm going to share some content with you guys today so you get my idea here. All right. But on top of that, we want consistency. So I'll tell you, for my own, personal brand and personal business, all right, I managed to get all my content in for an entire month in under 4 hours a month in my personal time. Okay. Not so bad. Okay. We generate, quite a bit, millions of dollars, sometimes a month off that content. So it's a pretty good investment in my time. Okay. Now, I'll be honest with you. I hate shooting content. I'd rather gouge my eyes out with a fork. All right. I sincerely would. I have no respect for it. I just, again, it seems stupid. All right. I still have those limiting beliefs. All right. I do not enjoy the process. I don't like being behind a camera. I have better shit to do. All right. But I still do it. All right. The reason why is that I know and I can tell and I've measured, all right, the effectiveness of it. Now, am I the best? Hell no. All right. I am still a student when it comes to content creating, but I'm surrounded by people who are incredible at it, better than me. And that's why they are here at Contractor AI and help us with these processes. And I can tell you for sure, all right, that it is far easier than what I made up in my own head. So literally just pulling out my own cell phone and going through, experiences and stuff that we're having, and not being connected to the outcome or having it being polished or anything like that. If you have a good editor or good editing thing, this is a great way to have it. And again, you'd be very surprised at what goes viral. All right. It's not the stuff that you've produced. It's not the stuff you've scripted or, that you got, AIs to create. None of that stuff is natural and people know it. All right. People have very good bullshit meters these days. All right. I'm just put yourself in those shoes. When you're looking at certain content, do you not just go, oh my God, like it's cringy, right? Most of that stuff is scripted, produced, overproduced. All right. It's not genuine. It's not showing who you are or what your brand is. All right. So like I'm all for like, getting back to being authentic, right? People want authentic and they can see through it. It's even with AI, I think that's accelerated. People are desperate to see authentic things that they can believe, right? So another great example of this is, guys that show their mistakes in their jobs, right? Actually going back and showing, the mistake that you've made. You may be like, whoa, what? Like, I don't want to show mistakes, but that makes you real, right? Do you think anybody that's watching your content believes you're absolutely perfect? Hell no. Okay. So again, showing behind the scenes content with your team. All right. A lot of this stuff that you just do on a day-to-day basis can become your content. All right. You can just open your phone and shoot it, walk around your job sites, have discussions with your guys like you normally would. All right. And believe me, this stuff builds trust. All right. And especially if you're doing it consistently, it's going to build trust over time because they can see the real, the real company. Now, what we found with most of our members that are involved in this is the less scripting we did, all right, the better the content came out. All right. So I want you to keep that in mind. Oh, so I'm going to share with you guys. I've got to just reshare here. Hold on one sec. So you guys can. Oh, you guys see my screen still? Okay. So I'm going to share some of our members' content that they've made. Again, I promise you there was no scripting or, things behind it.
Yeah, don't forget to ask us about these sweet Generac stands, these generator stands. See this? Keeps it off the ground about 18. We even got ones that are 4 feet off the ground. If you're in a high flood or a high snow area and you don't want your generator being buried in snow or having to shovel it, these are an awesome option.
Okay. Who thought that was complicated? Anybody think that was scripted or like, no, it's something you would naturally do and explain, right? Not overly complicated. I mean, it took them 2 seconds to shoot that, right? So again, when we're thinking about content, when we're thinking about posts, okay, this is the kind of stuff that people can scroll through and see and immediately start to identify with, right? Now, he's already gotten huge results from this just organically. Okay. Enough people that have searched Generac now all of a sudden is being, hit with this kind of content. And here's the unfair advantage that everybody as a contractor has sitting on this call right now. Okay. I want to tell you about the cheat code. Okay. The algorithm is desperate to find contractors' content, their organic content. And I'll tell you why, because contractors don't make content compared to all the other markets in the industries. I mean, again, how many of you guys get hit with, coaches and consultants and the content there is just endless, right? People trying to sell you products. Okay. When it comes to contracting businesses, there's very little content being produced. Even your biggest competitors are not producing a lot of it, or they're producing stuff that is very salesy. Okay. Very marketing type content. They're not really helping or adding value to the platform. They're not using content to keep people on. They're trying to sell things. All right. And nobody wants to be sold to, especially when they're doom scrolling, right? So again, little PDF information, a little bit of value. Okay. So let's take some look at some other ones.
Steve here. I'm going to show you a little inside scoop on our vans, our setup, and, helps us get the job done every day. And, everything has a place. So you go looking for things in each van. They should be in a very similar place in each van. Just keeping all the fittings separate. We got hundreds and hundreds of little pieces that we use on the day-to-day between fasteners, clips, connectors, pipe fittings, and then the tools. So here's some more finishing devices, etc., plates, boxes, you name it. Everything has its own place, stored, kept, and then stocked. Top of the roof, keep a shovel in each van. You never know when you got to dig a hole. Fish sticks, flexi bits, you name it, we got it. Socket set, tracers, frick. We got more tools in this van than I ever had when I worked for another company. So my goal when rigging these vans up, make sure you got absolutely everything you need. Outside of your handbag, you got to bring your hand tools, and that's pretty well it. We got the arc flash suit, safety gear, you name it, it's in here, ready to go. We got the ladders. I think each truck has 5 ladders on it. Extension ladder, 8 foot, 10 foot, 6 foot, 4 foot. No excuse for doing something unsafe or not being able to reach something, get the job done.
Okay. So did anybody catch what that was? Anybody catch what that was? Who would want to watch that content, or who would be interested in that? If you know, feel free to unmute. It's pretty straightforward. Employees, that's it, right?
I was feeling a little bit called out there, bud.
But
I also want a copy of that. Please send it.
Yeah. So again, guys, did you see none of that, we just said go, right? The more authentic it seems, the more natural it seems, the more people will gravitate to it, but it's also sending another message. Again, if you've been following me for any sort of time, you will know that anything I'm doing, marketing and sales, okay, I am matching point for point in hiring or recruiting. You should actually look at those two mechanisms in your business as being the same. Okay. We should always be hiring and recruiting, and we should always be marketing and selling. Okay. So if you're going to do one, again, now, if a homeowner were to come across this, okay, or see this, all right, has it helped your brand or hurt it? It's helped your brand. Okay. Now, if I were to say, hey, this content worked really well, I'm just gonna pop this into an engagement campaign where I'm gonna run this for really, really cheap, maybe 2 cents a view. All right. You may or may not know this, but it's actually cheaper to run a hiring campaign. All right. So you're soliciting for guys where all of your potential hires are, all right, than it is to run anything else. So you may be able to get people that you're trying to hire in a hiring campaign, all right, for about $3 an opportunity. Okay. Now, because of the algorithm's rules and not being able to be prejudiced, okay, it's going to feed it to all of your customers. Okay. What we see 9 times out of 10, all right, and I know myself personally, I've been doing it for years, is that I will generate 2 to 3 leads out of that from homeowners that had seen our content. All right. Well, I'm not able to generate a lead for anything, south of $25 for my roofing, but I'm generating leads here that more than pay for my hiring and recruitment ads. All right. And it's allowing me now to continue to, be present and to be a known employer in my market. Okay. And I'm actually profitable on them. How about that? I'm actually profitable. So it pays me, all right, to run recruitment ads. Okay. And what really works well is when it doesn't feel like an ad. All right. Even though you're running it out, it doesn't feel like an ad. Just again, it's something you could see yourself doom scrolling through because it's not calling you out directly, but subliminally now, that person that may be an electrician, all right, suddenly knows your brand. All right. And you want to think about it this way. The best guys you've ever hired probably didn't need the job. Right. The best guys that we hire already have jobs. They choose to leave the job they're at to come and work for you. All right. Those are the best kind of people we can get, and you know what works really well? When we create so much influence, okay, and we get so much traction with this stuff, all right, that we can pull our competitors' key guys away from them. Imagine that. All right. If I go head to head with my competitors on marketing, all right, fighting for customers, okay, well, that's a limited game. Okay. All right. It has a lot of factors to it. But if I just took away their resources so they couldn't do the work, well, doesn't matter how much advertising you have all of a sudden, does it? Okay. So you'll understand the purpose to this is to really understand strategy, right? We want to be grabbing and making sure we have influence, all right, on the hiring market. All right. And we're still generating leads. We're still generating awareness of our brand. The reality of it is, okay, it takes 9 touch points before someone even recognizes you as a brand. Okay. So they'd have to see these ads, and it doesn't matter how the content comes in. It's just as long as they see it and recognize it. Right. So you could run 9 hiring ads in front of someone. All right. All of a sudden they need a roof and they'll remember you as the brand. Right. Pretty simple. Okay. So I encourage you guys to think about it. Let's take
Hey
a look.
there, guys. This is here's a quick video of a garage that I had done a little bit ago. People are wondering about using the infrared cameras to kind of see the difference.
Best sales tool in the books.
We foamed all the walls and did the blow in up in the attic there. So yeah, I'm gonna just flip the camera around here and I'll show you what it's all about. So here we are. Yeah, you can see the blow in. You can see spray foam. Beautiful, beautiful job. You can kind of see it generally in houses. You're gonna have a super cold spot along that top edge. It is nice and sealed up there. You can see behind here we've got a window, so you can see that there's a little bit of cold coming in on the edges of the window. Yeah, so and then just kind of like back onto a wall like this here. I'll just kind of show you. So you can sort of like everything is. There is no hot and cold spots like you would normally see with a bat insulation. Here, I'm gonna actually just show you. So you can see over here, there's a section that we spray foamed obviously, and then got another garage door that he's gonna install after. So it is just kind of bat and poly. So again, I'm just gonna show you here. There's not much of a temperature change between inside and outside. I don't think he's had any heat on in here for a while. But you can see there's the spray foam wall. And then you can just see like right away as we get over to the bat and poly, you see all these cold spots, cold lines and everything else. Again, that's the difference between friction fit insulation like you're seeing here, where it's pushed in, right? It's just pushed into place, held by friction.
Okay. So again, I'm showing you content that took him no time to make, but notice the difference there. He's literally demonstrating value. Okay. He's giving, important information, right? He's sharing. All right. And this is something, again, you could probably see yourself doing on a day-to-day basis. Like, what do you commonly have to answer for your customers? What are the common questions they have? Okay. That's the kind of content that you want to start generating. You want to start creating. So again, what was the problem? What was the solution? Okay. He's demonstrating that. He's also, again, showing, that he's an expert and using, I love the infrared camera. I'm a roofing contractor, so it's sold me more jobs than I can even count on in my imagination. We use it on every project because it's easier to show somebody with a camera or an instrument, all right, than to tell them. Okay. Way easier. So again, sales in there and using that as your storyline. All right. Again, somebody could be interested in, spray foam installation. They come across that video. All right. And all of a sudden you become a trusted consultant. All right. You've given them something they didn't know, before, right? Maybe they were having that question or considering it. Right. So I want you to think about your own brand and your own business. And again, the key here is to get out of your head. Okay. The second, and again, I've recently learned this, the second you script anything, it's not you, it's not authentic. Okay. And most of us get caught up in this having to be a movie production, or having to be marketing and advertising, or, having to have all of this. People don't care about that. Just put yourself in those shoes. When an ad comes up and it's an obvious ad, do you watch it through, or do you scroll past it? Right? I'll tell you, I don't watch too many of them. Okay. Unless I'm like directly interested in that thing. All right. This is the same goes with content. People are dying to see authentic content. They'll sit there and watch that. And again, the simple things in your business that you take for granted, the day-to-day stuff, the conversations with your team, the behind the scenes stuff. Okay. That's the stuff that builds trust. It builds authority, right? Just your day-to-day stuff, getting in an attic, or, laying tile, like all of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Showing your mistakes, being authentic. Like there's a lot of storylines that you could take. All right. And what we're finding is just, what? Pull your camera out, right? We call it panning for gold, right? Go into your job sites, go onto your things. Don't get caught up in the outcome of it. All right. And if you have a good editor, if you have somebody that's on your team that can, edit these things well, it's going to make for really, really good content that's going to build a lot of authority and trust for your brand. All right. If you're running ads, this helps ads run a lot better, right? You immediately start to see savings in your ads and your cost per acquired customer. And more importantly about all of this, guys, I want to drive home. It's the quality of lead that you start to generate. All right. Who loves getting a cold lead? People that don't know, like, or trust you. How fun is that? Right? The guy that calls you up that has 8 quotes already, just give me a price. Won't give you the time of day. Like, is that fun to deal with? Because there's no way to differentiate yourself. All right. Now let's think about it the other way. All right. Somebody that's watched your content, connected with something in your content, all right, is now calling you exclusively to solve a problem they have. Can't get better than that. You can't get better than that. Some of our largest projects, all right. I mean, again, our sales reps tell us all the time, right? Customers seen us on Instagram, or they seen us here. Right? They really like this kind of, steel roof that we install. And they notice their neighbor's house, in one of our posts. Okay. Like, again, think about how people are consuming these days, and you'll see very quickly how important it is to have these storylines. And again, does it have to be, highly produced? No, in fact, it shouldn't be, right? None of those videos you've seen, were any of them in focus, right? Were any of them? No. All right. Because once you do that, all right, people know that, there's an intent behind it, right? People understand that, right? We look for those things. Our brains are trained that way to look for the bullshit, all right? To know when we're being sold to, all right? And we don't like it, all right? To know when it's fake or misleading or a scam, right? We're all probably thinking scam immediately. I know I start off most of it and I've had to really kind of analyze my thought process, but like, again, the first 3 seconds of the video, right? If they have a good hook, but like, I know kind of in, right away if it's an authentic piece of content or not, right? So give you a quick example, Mark, a siding contractor, switched from look at this job to worried about drafts. Okay, so actually talking about the problem the customer has, not less about look at me, but making it about your customer, making it about the person you're trying to speak to. Okay, and letting people know how you fix it, right? So offering value, being someone of value with good information. All right. That's going to go a hell of a lot further in terms of building trust and authority than anything you're going to do that's, showing off trucks or showing off, things that you've done before and afters with no context. Okay. Like, actually take the time and go through. If you've installed a new kitchen, this is a great, thing that we see all the time too. They're going to go through and kind of show them, hey, here's this garbage disposal thing we installed. Cool. All right. We could stop there, or we could just actually start using it. Use it right on your thing. Show them how it works, right? Most people never had a garbage disposal, right? They might be interested in it. Okay, that's far more interesting. Just, putting things in the garbage disposal, like going through, which you may take for granted. All right, rather than just show them, oh, we installed the garbage disposal. Well, hey, there's more opportunity in showing them that garbage disposal working. All right, and again, what it's doing for your customer than there is just showing it. Right. So again, just put yourself in those shoes. Right. How much better would it be if someone walked you through and explained, how this thing works? Right? You're going to build a lot more trust. You're going to have a lot more authority that way than, just showing the surface level thing, right? Explaining how it helped somebody, all right? Because a lot of people don't know about these things. Okay? You do, all right? You see it every single day, all right? But most homeowners, most people don't, necessarily know how those things would work or how they would, save them time or, be more efficient in their home, right? And you've just given them that idea now. You've changed their perspective. All right. And people build trust on that. They start to see you as the trusted consultant versus you as the guy that's trying to sell them shit. Okay. So again, think about your identifying your homeowners' like biggest worries, right? Talk about their problems. All right. Less about you, but more about the problems that you solve, the solutions that you have. All right. And you're going to see your content goes a lot further. Here's a couple things of what not to do, right? Post only about yourself and your company. Okay. Really bad. People don't care, right? No one cares about you, your company, any of that stuff. What do they care about? They care about them and their problems. Okay. So make it about them and their problems. All right. Don't use technical terms. Homeowners don't understand. Okay. See this all the time. I'm probably guilty of it as many times as well, but like, don't use technical terms. And if you are, okay, explain it. Explain what that thing means. Okay. Again, take the time to actually, explain what that term would mean and show them the part or the piece and, why it helps them solve that problem. Okay. Don't forget and include a way they can contact you. Right. So here's an example. We use GAF Timberline HDZ shingles. Homeowners don't care. They want to know if it stops leaks. Okay. So they don't care about your GAF Timberline. Like, who cares about, what is that? All right. 99% of people don't know what that thing is. Okay. So again, you're listing a product that's off the wall. Who cares? Right. What does it do? It stops leaks. Why is it so good? You can show that. You can demonstrate that. Okay. Same with equipment and tools. I think someone was, asking about selling equipment using meta ads. Oh, question about selling. Yeah, shoot. What's your question there? Sivash, just unmute yourself. Oh, all right. I'll come back to you. Okay, so let's talk about some quick wins today, guys, that we can do. And again, I love when people take action. Okay, so I'm going to try and make these easy to do. All right, if you spent this much time already, you owe it to yourself to take some really simple action today. Okay, first one, rewrite one post using the problem solution CTA formula. And guess what? You can type that right into your AI or whatever you're using if you're using that. All right, and use that framework, use that formula. Okay, it's really going to help you to straighten out some of these things at a basic level. Okay, it's an easy, quick win. All right, it's a problem solution CTA. Okay, add a testimonial or a before and after story. Okay, notice I said story. All right, I want you to tell stories. The best form of content is still storytelling. Right, explaining how you help somebody, how you help something. Again, keep this natural. Keep this, doesn't have to be, elegantly said or anything. Like, it has to be you. So if they call you up on the phone, they want to know that they're talking to that person. Okay. So don't get caught up. Don't get in your head about this stuff. All right. We all have thousands of pieces of content on a daily basis that people would genuinely be interested in seeing. All right. Include your phone number and your booking link in every post. Okay. Doesn't have to be, directly in the content. It can be in the, in the post itself. Okay. So just keep that in mind. All right. People maybe enjoyed the content. Like, can they get a hold of you? Okay. Ask the customer what made them call. All right. Use that in your next post. All right. So when you ask a customer, what got you to call? Right. What was your reasoning for that? Okay. And then take exactly what they said, and put it in your next post. There you go. There's content. All right. Because people believe what other people say. They believe less of what you say. All right. I want you to imagine in this post-trust era, in these times, this trust recession we're in, okay, almost nothing that comes out of your mouth do people believe. All right. Until you've demonstrated some reason to be believable. Okay. So again, don't mistake the times we're in, and understand that you have to build value. Okay. And the best way to do this, the cheapest way to do this, again, is just like what I'm showing you. All right. Now imagine running this through ads, right? Again, if you had this content base below you and people that were, maybe attracted to the ad that you had, seen your content, or vice versa, had been checking out your stuff, and then you can target them with ads. All right. That's going to perform enormously better than just a regular ad with, no name branding and, a generic, ad set. And then we cry about why our calls don't show up, or we don't, they never call us back. All the problems that we hear on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So let me ask, and this is your opportunity to get your questions answered as best as I can. All right. What's your number one challenge with posting online? All right. So if you'd like to unmute yourself, again, I'm here for you. All right. I'd love to hear what your number one challenge is with posting online. Nobody? You can throw it in the chat too if you guys are shy. I don't mind. Okay. I'll assume that I did such a good job today that we don't have any problems. That's making it easy for me. Sivash, you still here? Yes, great assumption. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, then I expect to see everybody that's been on the call today posting, without any problems, without any challenges. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, it definitely makes it easier having help.
For sure.
It definitely makes me feel less alone because I have sounding board.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely easier when I have a plan. Definitely. And then it's just rinse and repeat. Like in the beginning, we spent a little bit of time thinking about it, but now we don't. It's just rinse and repeat. And then, like you were showing those examples, sometimes I'm scrolling and I'm like, oh, that's something that I feel relates to what we're doing, and you just pull it into the mix. So it was good learning today. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. And again, who I'm speaking to here directly is, guys that are on the fence whether they're going to do content or not. Like, I want you to take the first step today. And again, of course, things get more advanced and they get easier. There's levels to everything, right? So, here at Contractor AI, of course, we help all of our members, get over this hump of making content. It's directly related to, how we help our customers and, what they have to do in order to get the best possible results. But again, it would be wrong of me to try and run ads if I didn't, push every single one of our members to have a great online presence and to really be focused on brand building, having people recognize who they are. All right. Leads to better quality leads, leads to a better opportunities and less chance of them, feeling discouraged when they're dealing with an absolute cold lead that doesn't like or trust them. Right. So if you're having those kind of problems, if you're experiencing those kind of things, all right, the answer sometimes is right in front of you, right? So if you sat through this whole thing, all right, I want you to take the very first step, all right? And that's make shitty content, all right? Don't attach yourself to the outcomes, okay? Just make it, put it out there, all right? And watch the difference that happens. And it's, it's about your consistency. If you did this consistently for a month, right? Detach from the outcome. Stop worrying about, if your camera angles are perfect and, if you were perfectly scripted, like forget that shit. Doesn't work, right? Even if it was, people would see through it very quickly. It wouldn't be authentic. All right. People don't mind hearing you stutter a little bit or like, having to, cut it and retake it. Like, don't just get out of your head. All right. If you want the best possible results, your opportunity today, all right, make shitty content. We call it panning for gold. All right. You don't know, nor does anybody, anybody really know what's going to work and what's not going to work. All right. Even the best content creators in the world don't know. That is a matter of fact. And if they did, All right. All content creators would be billionaires. Right. So again, don't think that the stuff you're making won't be of worthwhile. You'd be very surprised. All right. And the less you put into, overthinking it, the better it actually comes out. Sivash, how's it going, man?
Amazing, dude. Thanks for this presentation. I find like as we know what to do, but we just need to be reminded to constantly do what we're not comfortable doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
My question today was about posting equipment for sale on Meta. I have about $120,000 I'm trying to liquidate of equipment. I could post on Marketplace. What are your recommendations on it? Or what are your thoughts on running a specific ad campaign with a $5-10 daily budget?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'd put it right through Marketplace because they don't really look upon like selling like things outside of the Marketplace very well. So like you'll pay enormous for that. So Marketplace is your best bet. But the other thing that you do is you can make a piece of like content about the piece of equipment and post that in the Marketplace. So like the video that the people see, like you using the equipment, like again, that kind of stuff gets equipment to sell quick, right? So you're taking some of the trust out of the thing, like, showing the speedometer and all that kind of stuff. Like we do that when we're selling things and it's just like snap, like we stand out from everything else.
Instead of having a picture of the equipment,
right?
Have videos.
Just have you got it. Just going through it, looking at that equipment, like, because people will watch the video more and like it's like 1,000 pictures.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the way I would go about it, like showing it going up and down, like, making sure there's no leaks, like just walking them through the equipment. It shows it's going to build a lot more trust and save a lot more time on people that, genuinely are interested in it. So again, whenever we're selling anything, we just shoot a quick video. Again, it doesn't have to be pretty or scripted. You just walk them through and just be like, here's this, this piece of equipment, and you'll see it snap like it sells like that.
Regarding the hiring module that you talked about, the hiring, we got about 200 candidates on Facebook right now.
Yep.
So we're just in the process of dialing through all those candidates.
Okay, so my suggestion to you, all right, is to make content around your business, and you've already got lots of it, but what I would do is run it in an engagement campaign, all right, so that you're retargeting all the people that came through your leads, and you just make like short clip videos, like 10-15 seconds of like what it's like to work for you. Right? That is like the most phenomenal, because you're subliminally sending the messages. Every time they're on the algorithm, it's showing another video that isn't like, hey, come get a job here. It's like, here's what it's like to work here. I mean, here's my guy getting, the big check, right? You take one of your sales reps and you give them that stupid looking check. I love that move. Like, what better way to say that people are making money than a big ass check, right?
We started recording, so we do Monday morning sales training here at Empire.
Yep.
We started recording the whole 45-minute session.
Oh, perfect. So just clip it.
Clip it.
Yeah. I just clip it. And like, again, just quick lines, 15, 30 seconds. Like the only person that would know what that is like a salesperson, right? So like that gets them warmed up and more engaged. And they come in knowing your brand, like they're already investing. I explained
they want to come work here. Yeah.
Yeah, like I explained to you how, in our process, we've gotten pretty good at this stuff, where like people are doing the course that we've built. They're doing that before they even get to second interview, right? Which is amazing for us because they're onboarded basically before they've even been made a job offer. They're just that, they're like, this is the company I want to work for. And we're seeing that repeatedly over and over again. And like, it's just making for such easy hires. They're like right on target because we're telling the algorithm what we want. Right. And you're demonstrating it. You're showing them like, hey, if you don't fit this, like this hole, like don't come in here. You know what I'm saying? So again, best for, especially because you've been generating leads. A lot of those like have already forgot who you are. Right. If you start, showing that back side of your business. And again, don't try to make it, puff my chest and look who we are. Like try to make it like valuable. Right. Like, show your wins and losses, show what you're looking for. I mean, again, be sincere about it. Like, hey, you know what? We're struggling. Our closing ratio is this. Like, there's nothing wrong with, sharing a little bit of that. Maybe not the number part, but, You get what I'm saying, right?
No, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. 15,
Right?
30 second sets. Like just about the ups and downs of being a salesperson,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
You're
just
high one day,
maybe,
you're down the other day.
right, right. You show, maybe your guy, you got a clip of, 4 weeks ago where he was pumped. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go and sell all this. And then like 4 weeks later, he's down. Like that's
Just
real
down.
sales, right? Like that's authentic. That's going to get a lot more like long-term followers too, right? That people that just follow it and they're on the fence. I call them wallflowers, right? You got to love your wallflowers. Like they're watching, they're consuming it, right? Your competitors even better, right? They're the ones making all the stupid comments, which is good for you, by the way, too. But I'll say that just when you guys get to the next level of this stuff, you want to actually, embrace your haters. The more comments you get, all right, we call it rage bait or whatever you want. All right, the more comments you get, all right, the better. So don't be discouraged by bad comments or people doubting what you are. All right, there's a great way to respond to it. I don't know if we'd have enough time to go through it, but again, a lot of people, are they get shy around this stuff and they figure because one, asshole or troll under the bridge, had something negative to say that's what everybody thinks. And then they stop making content. Don't. I mean, my best performing ads are ones where people are, not happy with what I said, right? And I don't care. Listen, I took that unhappiness all the way to the bank. Papa got paid, right? So they can continue to be the troll they want to be, right? Like I'm here for you, right? Just keep the comments coming because that's what meta looks like and that's what these algorithms look for. They don't care what the context of the comment is. They just care that people genuinely get engaged, right? So, again, look at content differently, like, the best that you can. Any other questions, guys? Anybody else stuck on anything? No? Okay. Appreciate everybody's time. Oh, by the way, if you're looking to get a hold of us, if you're, interested in anything I had to say today, I'm gonna pop in our contacts here in the chat. I'll leave it open for a few seconds here if you want to grab our contacts, our information. I'll follow my own rules. Almost didn't. Maria, if you can throw our booking link in there, let everybody know how they can get a hold of us. That'd be great. Hey, Sue.
I really appreciate this.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming and again, take the action. That's what it's all about.
Your team has definitely impacted how our business is. Like 2
I
years
appreciate
ago,
it.
people didn't know us at all. We had
Right.
no brand recognition, and now we're a top contender.
And it's
people
hiring
see
ads,
the value.
right?
They're seeing the value of who we are, what we stand for. So
Right. Well, and I've learned a lot as well from you guys in terms of like, again, it was something I identified in my own business and knew about, but like, seeing it happen in my, my client's business, with the hiring ads, just like, again, you're getting more phone calls, like in general, people know you in the community from these ads, and the better you get at them and the more, value that they have in them. All right. You're winning on both sides. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, again, hiring and recruiting, marketing and sales, it's the same to me. It's done the same way, right? It's done on the same platforms. And it's ironic too, because like, anybody that's having a hiring problem or having, a resource problem, which I'd say just about every contractor has at one point or another, all right, it's if they thought about their recruitment and hiring the same way they would about their marketing, they wouldn't have that problem anymore. Right.
yeah,
So
it's been working.
yeah, no, I appreciate the
Appreciate
feedback.
you.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Thanks.
Yep. Everyone have a wonderful day. Thanks a lot.